All right, so I've glued down my stems, but I haven't glued down my vase. So as long as I had this there while I was placing the stems, this just needs to overlap onto the shadow and the stems, and everything's in the right place. So thin lines of glue. And what I can start after that is my flowers, and then anything else that would go along with the flowers, like maybe leaves and things. So I'm going to take this and place this here, pressing it down. So I've got this green paper left over. That would be great to make leaves and things that would be coming off of those stems. But then I have some patterned paper nearby that are contrasting colors to what is already here that I could use for my flowers. Now, what I can do to make multiple flowers, obviously if I take this and I fold this in half, there's a pattern on one side that I think will look great on the flowers and the petals, but then on the white side I can actually draw and see what I'm drawing. On the pattern side it would be a little harder to tell with all the lines and stuff, especially when you go to a darker color like this one. So I'm going to keep this folded. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually go as far as making 4 of these. This paper does not feel super thick, so I'm thinking if I draw shapes on here, I should be able to cut through those 4 layers. So the thing is, if I draw the center part of a flower and then I draw petals on it, I'm not going to be able to see that when I flip it over. So I want to really just think about the whole shape of the flower. So I'm going to do something, I think, that has sort of geometric looking petals. If you want to draw a circle, draw lines coming off of it, and then build your flower from those lines coming off of it. Any way that you need to draw your flower. Because when you cut this out and flip it over, you'll see the nice pattern on the paper, but you won't actually see anything you sketched or drew. So I'm keeping my paper folded together and cutting on the line. And as long as I stay on the line, I will have shapes that look like my flowers. When I have them cut, then I would start placing them and deciding, okay, well, how many of these purple flowers with the pattern on it am I going to have? How many am I going to make out of that red paper that I want? And again, it's a collage, so you get to move things around and really decide, well, how am I balancing this out? How am I getting the effects I want with the elements of design I'm using? So with these shapes, which is an element, so maybe I place one here, and maybe I place one here. I could even have one, because I have 2 more like this, coming out from behind this one, so overlap can be something I use. And then thinking about that too, well, maybe if this is lower, it seems like there's a stem that's not quite popping out. So I'm going to think about making flowers using my other paper, and then even creating details that could go inside these. So let's say I take a scrap of this orange paper here and I cut a shape out of here. That could even get placed in the middle of the flower shape. So that's a whole nother layer of detail that I can put in there. So at this point, you're really working independently. You're creating the rest of your flowers, you're creating any leaf shapes or anything that's coming out of there. So I look forward to seeing what you guys turn in later, what you come up with on your own.